Hey, Gemini Rising. This is your reading for the week of June 12th. That's Monday, June 12th until Sunday, June 18th. So what's going to be happening this week is the new moon is going to start off in the last quarter phase, and that's going to be in Aquarius in your ninth house. Your ninth house represents your purpose. Your ninth house represents your spirituality, your beliefs, your philosophies, higher education. And the last quarter moon asks us to let go of what is not helping us reach our goals. Okay. So then the new moon, which is happening depending on where you live, June 17th or June 18th, that's happening in your first house. So this new moon is going to be very important to you. So the new moon is where we ask, where do we need to have a new beginning? Okay, what area of our lives do we need to reflect on? What area of our lives do we need to create more manifestation and more intentions? I'm shuffling and dropping cards. And for you, it's like I said, in your first house represents your entire life. It represents your overall body, your overall health, your overall purpose. It's basically like a summary of everything in your chart, okay? So this new moon in Gemini could be very transformational for a lot of you. And then we're also going to be talking about the Saturn going retrograde in Aquarius, which is also your ninth house. It's just like the last quarter moon. So it's a lot of energy connected to your ninth and third house. The ninth house also represents like public speaking. The ninth house represents publication. So we need to make sure that we're letting go of things in that area. That are not serving us. We also need to make sure that we're being as disciplined and responsible as we need to be in that area of the ninth house. So I'm going to ask a couple questions, and the questions I'm going to ask are, what is the overall theme of this week for you? So, and by this week, I'm talking about June 12th through June 18th. We're going to be digging deeper into what does the last quarter mean for you? What does the new moon mean for you? What does Saturn going retrograde on the 17th mean for you? And what is your overall advice for this week? Okay, so I'm shuffling cards. I believe I will do 3 cards today. I believe I'll take out the runes. I've been doing runes, but I think maybe they might be taking too much time because my videos are like, the videos have been like an hour and a half, an hour, things like that. So I want to make sure I'm not taking up too much time, but I also just want to have a conversation with you. That's what these videos are about. My readings are more like conversations, okay? So you can like relax and do your own thing, like clean up the kitchen, do a little organizing, do what you need to do. I like to listen to things on my morning walk, so feel free to do that as well. These readings are really like a conversation, okay? So now I'm gonna focus on these cards so we can see what the cards are saying. I just want to say that I do Vedic astrology. I don't do Western astrology. So if you're wondering why I said the new moon was going to be in Gemini and not in Cancer, that's why, because I do Vedic astrology, okay? So, all right. What is the overall theme for Gemini Rising for the week of June 12th until June 18th? What does Gemini Rising need to know about the last quarter moon. What does Gemini rising need to know about the new moon? What does Gemini rising need to know about Saturn going retrograde in Aquarius? And what is Gemini rising's overall advice? All right, let's go ahead and get started with this card that represents the sun. So what's interesting about this is representing your theme of the week, is that the sun is starting off this week in your 12th house. And the 12th house represents loss. 12th house represents death. The 12th house represents what else? Spirituality, like deep spirituality, to where you're connecting with things that you cannot see. What else does the 12th house represent? Privacy, hospitals, places that are kind of isolated and segregated. So it's starting off in the 12th house, but on the new moon, by the time of the new moon, the sun will be in your first house. So this is, I believe, why the sun is coming up as the main theme of this reading. Now, whenever you get a sun card, I'm pretty sure if you listen to a lot of readings that you already know, whenever the sun card comes up, whether it's upright or reversed, it's good. It's all good. It might be some things that you need to look at and reflect and review on, but if the sun card is showing up, you good, baby. Okay, so next, what do we need to know about the last quarter moon? And for you, it's in, let me look at the notebook real quick. For you, it's in, yeah, it's happening in your 9th house, where K2 is aspecting, and also K2 has a 5th aspect on your 9th house. So we're definitely letting go of what no longer serves us when it comes to your purpose, your spirituality, your beliefs, your philosophies, your higher education, things like that, your purpose. I think I said that already, but Mars has its 8th aspect on your 9th house. So that's talking about, okay, so K2 has its 5th aspect on your 9th house. So you might, Gemini, you might need to unlearn some things. You might need to unlearn some things because Gemini helps you to let go and separate yourself from what isn't serving you, from what is not helping you get to where you need to be. And the 5th aspect has a lot to do with education. So you might be unlearning things that are keeping you from your purpose. So Mars has its 8th aspect on your 9th house, and Mars represents transformation. Especially the 8th aspect, it has a lot to do with transformations and endings and beginnings. So this really does have a lot to do with letting go of what no longer serves you, so you can create your new beginning in that area, the area of the 9th house. Okay, so it's a lot of energy. It's a lot of the forces but it's reversed. So we'll look into that and see what the new moon means for you. Okay. So, I mean, this is the last quarter moon. Then we have the new moon. Look at this, the Queen of Scrolls. If this isn't Gemini, I don't know what is the Queen of Scrolls. She is, if you were wondering about this is my tarot deck. And so some of the tarot cards might have a difference. This is the Queen of Swords. If you had like Rider-Waite or something like an original tarot deck, she would be the Queen of Swords. But this is the Queen of Scrolls, which makes sense because air signs represent swords. And Gemini, you are an air sign. In your first house, you are an air sign. So a lot of energy. The Queen of, for me, the first thing that comes out when I think about the Queen of Swords, to me, is truth. Truth and balance. Okay. So this is, now we're talking about, right here, we're talking about Saturn retrograde. Saturn retrograde, 8 of Roses, community. So 8 of Roses is 8 of Hearts. A lot of transformation, like I said. But this is talking about your ninth house again. Okay, and this is your overall advice. And it's leaning towards the Saturn. It's a lot going on in your ninth house. And this is going along with that initiation in the Count Saint Germain. This card represents healing and being more about being balanced. I said balance with your first house, but it's healing. So we'll dig more into that when it comes to your overall advice. Your overall advice definitely has a lot to do with your ninth house. So let's do some clarifying. Let me get my Keepers of the Light deck. I love this deck so much. Uh-oh. All right. So get that out of there. All right. So we're going to shuffle some more cards. What is the main theme of this week for Gemini Rising, June 12th through June 18th? What does the last quarter moon mean for Gemini Rising? What does the new moon mean for Gemini Rising? What does Saturn turning retrograde on June 17th mean for Gemini Rising? And what is the overall advice for this week for Gemini Rising? Uh-oh. Makes sense, but I'm going to pay attention to that card, but I'm also going to keep going because that card that fell also represents Aquarius, which is in your ninth house, which is the house that I keep talking about because that's the house that Saturn is going to retrograde in. Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord. I'm gonna pick these up. Okay. So here we have Kali Ma, which is, to me, it could represent Scorpio or the 8th house. Let me check out what's in your 8th house right now. In your 8th house, you have Venus aspect in your 8th house. You have Capricorn in your 8th house. You have Mars aspect in your 8th house. And you also have retrograde Pluto in your 8th house. And this could also mean Scorpio. Scorpio is in your 6th house, where the sun is aspecting and also Mercury is aspecting. I believe this is really talking about your 6th house the 6th house represents your work environment. The 6th house represents your obstacles, challenges, enemies. So that's what's coming up right there. So the sun in your 8th house makes sense. The sun in Scorpio makes sense right here. It's aspecting Scorpio. Okay, so here is your card that represents this is a clarifying card that represents the last quarter moon. And this is Bridget. She represents Aquarius. Not Aquarius, a Mars. Bridget is inner strength. Move back to wholeness. Recognize that you have the power. And I always like to look at when they say you have the power and she's holding this ball of fire. And Mars is a fire sign. So let's look at what this was. Queen of Forces, another sign. I got the hiccups right now. Another sign that represents fire. So this is fire. Let's see what's going on. Queen of Forces. Where is Mars? Mars is in your 2nd house with Venus and Lilith. Mars is aspecting your 5th house. It has its 4th aspect on your 5th house. It has its 7th aspect on your 8th house, and it has its 8th aspect in your 9th house, this is probably what we're talking about, your 9th house, because this is a lot of the energy. Oh yeah, we're talking about the last quarter moon, duh. And the last quarter moon is in your 9th house. So definitely, this is talking about your 9th house again. Ready? Here we have, it looks like your 9th house again. But here we have Gaia. This is a card that fell out when I was shuffling. And she represents Aquarius, which is also in your 9th house. But we're talking about the new moon, Gaia, Earth connection. Be mindful of the planet. Come back to Earth and stay grounded. Okay, Gemini. I believe I understand why your spiritual team might be asking you to stay grounded, but we're talking about the new moon. The sun will be there. Okay. There's a Saturn. Let me see. 1, 2, 3. 3. Saturn is aspecting your 3rd house. So 7, 8, 9, 10. It's also, Saturn is also aspecting your 6th house. Interesting. So we'll look more into the new moon. I feel like we're going to need to dig a little deeper into the new moon. Okay. And here we also have, one second. Let me give you a little courtesy mute. Okay. So here we have Melchizedek representing the, look at what this represents. Melchizedek represents Saturn going retrograde in Aquarius in your ninth house. And remember, I said that the ninth house represents higher learning, higher education. Okay. And here it says right here, higher learning. You have learned from experience. More inner study is now required to further progress. This is talking about Saturn going retrograde in your ninth house. So with Saturn going retrograde, Saturn already represents discipline, self-discipline, responsibilities. And this is just saying, just go ahead and go back on that. You have learned from experience. What have you experienced? Now it's time to go back and kind of retrograde. With retrograde, we're always going within. We're always going within. It's time to reflect, relax, and it's another R that I cannot think about right now. I cannot remember right now. But this is what we do with Saturn. With any retrograde in your ninth house, this is especially important. Look at that. Look at the sinker. Oh, that sun's coming up again. Sun is coming up again. So this represents your overall advice, divine direction, intervention, and purpose. Divine intervention is occurring. Know that you are being guided. Happiness is your purpose. Okay, sun. Sun is coming through. So your advice, we're talking about Aquarius. We're talking about Saturn going retrograde in Aquarius in your ninth house. And we're also talking about the sun starting off in your 12th house of spirituality, of connecting to things that aren't seen, of privacy, of isolation, going into your first house. And your first house represents how people see you. So that's that transformation that we're going to see for you, Gemini rising. The sun coming from your 12th house, where it's been reflecting, where it's been really thinking, not just like the mundane type of thinking, but it's been connecting with the spiritual, your spiritual side, connecting with angels and ancestors and possibly, aliens, and connecting with spirituality and your intuition and your divine wisdom. It's been going through all that in your 12th house. Now it's going to your first house of your life, your appearance, your personality. And so the sun is very important for you. So now we've clarified with these cards, and now we're going to clarify with my goddess cards. Excuse me for reaching over. Pardon me. All right. So here we're going to hold on, let me top it up a little bit. You might hear a little porridge, a little pouring. Okay. Let's clarify one last time, then we're going to go all the way in. All the way in. What is the theme for Gemini rising for June 12th until June 18th? What does the last quarter moon mean for Gemini rising? What does the new moon mean for Gemini rising? What does Saturn going retrograde in Aquarius in Gemini rising's ninth house represent? And what is Gemini Rising's advice for this week? All right, here we go. Easy does it. There is no need to hurry or force things to happen. Everything is occurring in perfect time. This is your theme. Excuse me. This is your theme for this week. And Gemini does like to move fast. It does like to do a whole lot of things at the same time. So this might be saying for Gemini rising, you might need to just focus on one thing that's going to bring you success. Okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and dig deeper into that. For the last quarter moon, compassion, release judgment about yourself and others, and focus on the love and light that is within everyone. So this is about releasing. So this is about releasing judgments about yourself when it comes to your purpose, your spirituality, your path for purpose, when it comes to your higher education, when it comes to like what you want to do to follow your purpose. Don't judge yourself, Gemini rising. Whatever it is, do not judge yourself. Okay? This right here, Queen of Forces, and forgive me for saying this, but the Queen of Forces is a bad bitch, okay? She is very confident. She is very strong. She is very focused. She knows what she wants, and she has all the power to get it. You see her balancing the balancing the moon and the sun right here. The Queen of Forces is not anything to be played with. So you might need to have more confidence because she was reversed. And this also is letting you know you have the power. You have the power. You really need to let go of what you think people might say, what you think people might do, what you think people might think, because all that energy in your ninth house of purpose is telling you to let go and release and activate your confidence and your boldness and your courageousness. Okay? And this right here, release judgments. Release judgments about yourself. Yeah. It starts with you, Gemini rising. It starts with you. And you already know, like, Aquarius means, and Aquarius is the zodiac sign that's in your ninth house. You're going to think outside the box with Aquarius. Aquarius is very evolutionary. Okay? So when an evolution comes or a revolution comes, it usually takes somebody who is radical and out there, somebody who's a trailblazer, because a lot of people who are used to the traditional way of doing things aren't ready for the revolutionary or evolutionary way of doing things that Aquarius brings. But you are here to accept yourself, accept your purpose, no matter how different it might be for society, and move. Did I say society? society. I'm in society and move forward. Accept it and move forward because that's where the power is for you. Okay, so let's look at the new moon. The new moon is Vesta, home. Your household situation is improving either through a healthy change or either through a move or a healthy change in the occupants. The new moon is in your first house. So here we have the Queen of Scrolls, which I already told you was, oh, you have two queens up here. You have two queens. And you have a lot of, is this a lot of major arcana? Yeah, a lot of major arcana you have here. So just like I said, because the new moon is in your first house, it's going to be very transformational because the new moon represents your life. And so this new moon will affect your whole life. That's why you have these queens, these court cards, and you have these two major where's the other major these two major arcanas right here. Okay. So also pay attention to your feminine energy. You don't want to lead with masculine energy during this time. You want to lead with feminine energy. And that does not mean be a pushover, but feminine energy is more intuitive. Feminine energy is more receptive. Feminine energy is more cunning. I want to say, I don't say it, but it's more cunning. You know, it's not all out in your face. It's more methodic and spiritual and mysterious than masculine energy, which is all in your face and forceful and aggressive. Okay, so you want to lead this week with your feminine energy because of these two queens right here. Okay, so let me look at your chart again. So in your first house you have the sun. Okay, and oh, okay, so the sun is also aspecting your seventh house where Sagittarius is. And Sagittarius is also your purpose. So that's why this is coming out so strong. Your ninth house and your seventh house where Sagittarius is. That's why it's coming out like that. And we also have to look at the planet that rules your first lord, which is Mercury. Okay, Mercury. Oh wait, what am I looking at? No. Yeah, Jupiter, which rules. So cut out Mercury. Jupiter is what we're talking about. Jupiter rules Sagittarius in your seventh house. Jupiter also rules your ninth house, where all this energy I keep talking about is. Jupiter is in your 11th house of dreams and wishes and your older sibling, specifically your older brother, and friends and network circles. That's what the 11th house means. That's where Jupiter is. And I believe that's where all this energy is coming from. Yeah, that's where the Aquarius is coming from because Jupiter is in the 11th house, which is ruled by Aquarius. You're Gemini rising. This you want to be accept your proclivity or your inclinations to think outside of the box because the sun going into your first house, the sun enlightens us on so much. And I really feel like the sun is going to enlighten you so much on what your purpose is. And your purpose could be something that is outside of the box for you, Gemini rising. And you want to make sure that it doesn't matter how out of the box it is, you are accepting it for what it is, and you are following it, and you are moving forward. Okay, so that is really important for you. Okay, in household situations, improving either through move or healthy change in the occupants. So you have Virgo in your fourth house, but you also have Neptune there, and you also have well, not Neptune is not there. Neptune is in Pisces. Neptune and Chiron are in Pisces in your 10th house, which is right across from your fourth house. So they could be causing you, because they're also ruled by Jupiter. Neptune isn't ruled by Jupiter, but Pisces is ruled by Jupiter in your 10th house. So you want to also be making sure that whatever is going on in your fourth house, that is in alignment. And when I say fourth house, I mean your home. You want to make sure your home is in alignment with what you feel your purpose is right now. You want to make sure your emotions are in alignment with what you feel your purpose is right now, because the fourth house represents emotions. And let's say, now this is talking about the fourth house and your purpose and things changing in your life drastically. So the fourth house also represents your mother. So you want to make sure that you are following your purpose, even if it goes against what your mother thinks is right or what your mother would have thought was right. You also want to follow your purpose. Let's say your mother told you, well, I think this is what you should do. I think this is your purpose. And you said, no, I don't think that's what it is. At the age that you are now, at the stage in your life now, if you have realized that your mother was right about your purpose, you need to accept that and don't reject that. And that's what this is all about, the new moon on June 17th or June 18th, depending on what part of the country you're in. If you're in Central Standard Time like me, then the new moon will be on June 17th. But if you're not, let's say you're Eastern Standard Time or something like that, then it will be on June 18th, because it's going to be at midnight. I want to say 12:34 or something like that for you. Okay, so that is that. That's what that has to do with the new moon, all this right here. And it's a lot of situations talking about the home here. So peace. We're talking about Saturn going retrograde in Aquarius in your 9th house. So there is no need to worry. Everything is going to work out beautifully. Okay, so we have this right here. We have 8 of Roses, community. And we have Melchizedek, higher learning. You have learned from experiences. More inner study is required for further progress. And we have peace, Irene, the goddess Irene. There is no need to worry, as everything is working out beautifully. So this is talking about the 3rd and 9th house axis. Okay, so let's look at this real quick. In your 3rd house, you have Jupiter's, okay, in your 3rd house, you have the zodiac sign Leo. And Leo is an entertainer. Leo likes creative self-expression. Leo likes being on stage, public speaking, singing, dancing, acting, being a musician. Leo loves this. And with Jupiter there, it has a lot to do with your purpose, maybe learning more about what your purpose is. And Jupiter isn't there, but Jupiter has this fifth aspect on Leo in your third house of communication. So also Rahu is aspecting, has his fifth aspect on Leo in your third house, um representing like it's something that you might be just completely obsessed about. That it's okay, accept that. You know, sometimes we could just be obsessed about something and then we reject it and think it's just us being silly. But whatever it is that you can't stop thinking about as far as entertainment or communication, education, things like that, pay attention to that, okay? Because that's where things are trying to go. Okay, that's where your purpose is trying to take you, into that type of newness of communicating and entertaining and just letting your light shine in that area of your third house of communication. And communication can be writing, and it could also be communicating with your words or your creativity. Okay, so this here we're talking about Saturn going retrograde, and you want to make sure that you are, whatever you do, whatever you might want to be more creative in, more communicate more about, that you are very disciplined and responsible, and that you make sure you have all the skills necessary when it comes to these areas in your life: publication, communication, writing, speaking, entertaining, creativity. Be as skilled as you need to be, Gemini rising. That's what Saturn retrograde is asking you to do. Reflect on how you can be more responsible, how you can be more disciplined, how you can be more skilled when it comes to your purpose. Okay. And the last one coming out for you is go outside. You have been indoors too long. Go outside and get some fresh air. Gemini rising. Did you just go through something? Because I see in initiation and the Count Saint Germain here. With this is the 14th Arcana card, and it has a lot to do with healing. Two different sides. And I do feel like there's a mental struggle here. It could be a mental and emotional, but I really feel like there's a mental and probably emotional, because the moon represents emotions. Gemini represents your mind. And so, and the new moon is going to be in Gemini. And I feel like because Aquarius represents duality, you could have some mental and emotional challenges around what you should do this week, around your purpose. So you have to kind of balance and heal I'm going to tell a little story. Let me tell a little story. I think that's the only way I can explain what I'm trying to say. And I need to put my hand on here so I don't forget why I'm telling this story. So I am a pastor's daughter. Not just one, but you can basically say 4 pastors' daughters. Because my father is a pastor, my mother is a pastor, my father-in-law is a pastor, and his wife is a minister. So in my life, I've had to kind of come to a balance, understanding, a healing, a mutual understanding that even though I understand a lot when it comes to Christianity. Some stuff makes sense to me and some stuff doesn't. Some stuff I agree with and some stuff I don't. I'm also a medium and a psychic who who reads tarot and oracle cards and runes and shells and pendulums and talks to people who have passed away and spirit guides and spirit animals. I also believe in those things too. And there you have to, in your maturity, in your growth, you have to be able to accept, what you believe, and what you don't. And in the ending process, it might not look the way you thought it should look, but you have to understand, but is it real? Is it really how you think? Is it really how you feel? Is it really what you believe? And what you really think, what you really feel, what you really believe is what you have to go on with there. And that's what I have to kind of reconcile within myself. Yes, I do believe some things when it comes to spirituality. I don't believe all things, but yes, I am this person in my heart. I do connect with things that are unseen. I do connect with people who have passed away, with spirit guides, with spirit animals, with angels. I also connect with that. And so this has a lot to do with that. It's kind of like reconciling both sides. What do you call that? Being cognitive dissonance. Some people might call that cognitive dissonance, where just because something is true, it doesn't mean that the other thing is not true. And that's just completely and wholly 100% accepting who you are, what you think, and what you feel, and what you believe. Okay. So healing those parts of yourself, the sun is here to help you do that, especially when it comes to your mind and your emotions. Intervention and purpose. How are your mind and emotions getting in the way of what's going to help you follow your purpose? What is your mind and emotions telling you that you need to listen to when it comes to following your purpose? Okay. This is get outside, get out of your head. Okay. This is your advice for the week. This section right here is your advice for the week. It's time to get real with who you are and what you think and what you feel and what you believe, Gemini Rising. And move forward with that. Boldly accept that. That's what I'm here to do. I'm someone who is very different, very unique, very out of the box. And I'm here to really help people accept who they are and accept who they are, even if it's outside of the box of what society and religion says you should be. Accept your purpose, even if it seems like it's not realistic, if you feel like it's not going to make you as much money as you want, accept it and follow it, boo-boo. And this is your reading for the week of June 12th through June 18th. If you would like a specific reading just for you, make sure you look at the links in the description. Also, you can look at those links and contact me so we can create a reading that's just for you, so we can be specific as possible, because this reading is for people who have Gemini in their first house. So it's very general, but I can give you a specific reading that's just for you for this week or the week after this. And you can just let me know if you think that'll be helpful for you. All right. Up next, Cancer Rising,